Can Boise State get back to being the top group of five team? This is a Broncos team that has a storied tradition of being a top 25 team, a potential top 10 team, and winning New Year's Six bowl games. It's been a while since we've seen them at that level, and Andy Avalos has a chance to bring them back to that level. Now, we're going to start with personnel here because you look at some of the guys they have returning. This is a team that could be special in 2023. Now, you lose a few of the teams that have commanded most of the New Year's Six attention as the top group of five team in Houston, Cincinnati, and UCF. So now things appear to open up a little bit. I think the gap between the Mountain West and the AAC, even the Sun Belt, is a lot smaller than it once was. Now, Boise State has the opportunity to step up, and you look at what they have returning, and it's easy to see why you can get excited. Taylor Green comes back after taking over for Hank Bachmeier, a really exciting player that could develop or even more in 2023, someone who I think is just scratching the surface of what he can do. And you look at the offense and what they have returning, there's a lot of talent coming back. The running back duo could be one of the best in college football, period, not just the group of five. The wide receivers are still waiting for a breakout player to emerge, but there's a ton of talent there. And the offensive line has key pieces back as well. This is an offense that should be really good. They have the pieces in place to run the system that they want to run. And there's really no reason why they shouldn't be a really good group in the Mountain West, one of the best, if not the best offense in the Mountain West. Now you flip over to the defensive side of the ball. There are a few more pieces that you need to replace, but this is Boise State, where it seems to be that they just reload every year with their talent. They do a really good job of recruiting. And you look at guys like DJ Schramm is back at linebacker, one of the best tacklers in the Mountain West last year. You look at Dimitri Washington is back at the defensive end position, and there's a few other guys that come in that are going to contribute right away as well. So this is a defense that maybe needs a little bit of time when they lose a bunch of key pieces, and the offense should be able to shoulder that load early on. Now, we'll dive into the schedule here in a little bit, but that personnel is going to have to grow up because I feel like a lot of these guys did get a lot of experience, but you're going to face a few more challenges than maybe you expected early on in this season. And with a defense that needs to figure things out, you need leaders to step up and find ways to fight through that adversity and get guys up to speed faster than maybe you anticipate. Now, when you look at the schedule, like I said, at Washington to start, that's a loss. There's no way that Boise State, now maybe this is what makes this team special and they absolutely stun Washington, but my money is going to be on Washington. Then you host UCF. That's not necessarily a guaranteed win either, although Boise State gave UCF a run for their money a couple years ago on the road. So there's no telling what that's going to be. It's a home game. It's probably going to be packed on the blue turf. And if they find a way to beat Washington, that game is going to be really fun to watch too. North Dakota shouldn't be a problem. Then you get into two tough games at San Diego State and at Memphis. Now, Memphis is a team that is really interesting in 2023. We don't know what they're going to be. The AAC is a little bit more wide open than we have expected in years past. And Memphis is hoping that Ryan Silverfield has a lot left in the tank to be able to bring this team to a new level. So that is going to be a tough road trip for them. Then they come home and face San Jose State, a team that could compete for a Mountain West championship. That is a really talented team. Even with some of the losses they sustained on the defensive side of the ball, a really good team, one that's going to give Boise State plenty of trouble. Is Colorado State better this year? We will find out. Jay Norvell has a lot of work to do to get them back on track. Wyoming's always tough. Craig Bowl, one of the more underrated coaches in college football. Wyoming is a team that you cannot sleep on. They are going to be tough as well. At Fresno State, what is Fresno State going to be after losing quite a bit of talent on both sides of the football? I think they'll still be pretty solid. I just don't know if they're going to be competing for a Mountain West championship. That's where I think Boise State has the leg up, is that they have the more talented team there. New Mexico, Utah State, and Air Force aren't going to be as challenging as some of these other games. But again, Mountain West has those games where you don't expect maybe an upset, and some of those teams, like a Utah State, like an Air Force. I mean, Air Force is pretty solid last year, and they have been under Troy Calhoun. So I don't necessarily chalk that up to a win. I just don't think they're going to be as good with some of the pieces that they lost. So Boise State has everything that they need to be the best group of five team. It's just a matter of limiting the damage early. The Washington game, the UCF game, and the Memphis game are going to determine a lot about whether or not they get that spot, because if you have 2 or 3 losses, you're pretty much out of the running for the New Year's Six bowl game because the AAC is probably going to have that spot locked up, or the Sun Belt. One of those conferences is going to have a team with one or less losses, I think, this year, and that's going to be tough. Boise State getting back to where they once were when you everybody remembers the Fiesta Bowl, everybody remembers when they were beating teams left and right when they're in the top 5 in the preseason. Now, those days are probably gone, but this is a team that can still get back to national relevancy. We can get back to talking about Boise State as one of those Cinderella teams that's really fun. And Andy Avalos has a lot of pressure on his shoulders this year with his schedule, but the personnel that he has returning makes this team really exciting.